Hi everyone, welcome to Leisrealtalk. I'm terribly sorry for the delay. I was trying to upload a file, but it doesn't look like it's being uploaded. Well, we'll just have to get started without the visual aid. Um, I know I can't entertain you the same way those flashy entertainment channels do, but I do try. And tonight I've got a story that's part geopolitics, part drama, and part medical mystery. It's about the world's most notorious best buddies meeting for the 45th time since China's fearless leader took the reins. Xi Jinping went to Moscow again, but this time things didn't go exactly as planned. Um, no grand alliance, no anti-US pact, just Putin and a very unforgiving camera. All right, so let's get started. On May 7th, let me see, did my file upload? Oh, it didn't upload. I have no idea why it doesn't upload. I have some fascinating pictures to show you. But if we have to do the program without the pictures, it would be fine. But I do have the videos. I have the videos uploaded. Okay, so we'll see what we can do. I'm sure Chris can edit in the videos for the highlight later on. On May 7th, Xi Jinping arrived in Moscow to attend Russia's military parade marking the 80th anniversary of World War II, World War II victory. On the surface, this looked like a grand diplomatic moment. Western media framed it as proof of an unshakable China-Russia alliance, one that can stand firm against US pressure. And the New York Times ran the headline, Putin and Xi rebuke US and vow to strengthen ties. And Reuters went even further. Friends of steel, Xi and Putin pledged to stand together against the US. But are they really friends of steel? My take is a little different. Not only did Xi Jinping fail to secure a public anti-US alliance, he might have inadvertently revealed something during this trip that Beijing's state media would never show, a potential health issue caught on Russian camera. But let's start with what Xi Jinping didn't get from Putin, because that alone tells us everything. So on evening of May 7th, Xi Jinping landed in Moscow. According to Xinhua News, this was his 45th meeting with Putin in 13 years. Now, that's nearly 4 times a year if you exclude the COVID years when Xi Jinping didn't travel overseas. They're supposedly best buddies. That's what Xi Jinping calls Putin. At the airport, Xi Jinping issued a written statement and this quote, in the face of a turbulent and intertwined international situation, China and Russia will join hands to oppose hegemony and power politics. That was a thinly veiled jab at the United States and a clear signal that Xi Jinping came to Moscow with the hope to rope Putin into confronting Washington together. And the next day, China and Russia held small and large-scale talks for, I think, a total of 7 hours. And Xi Jinping said both countries should, quote, stay the course on cooperation and resist external interference. But Putin didn't echo that tone. Instead, he emphasized that the Russia-China relationship is based on equality, mutual benefit, respect for each other's interests, and sovereignty, and is not directed against any third party. Translation: Putin wasn't about to join Xi Jinping's anti-US crusade, and Moscow wants China's money, not its battles. While Putin wasn't interested in picking a fight with the US, he was more than happy to talk business with Xi Jinping. In his speech, he talked extensively about economic collaborations. So he highlighted that in 2024, trade between US and Russia hit almost $250 billion. And they had 86 joint projects that's worth $200 billion US dollars. And Russia is now China's top supplier of oil and pipeline gas, and a major supplier of coal and natural gas. And Russian nuclear power plants are being built in China. And also, Russia has become top export destination for Chinese cars. But here's what really caught my attention. Russian media revealed that Putin wants China to relocate more of its industrial production to Russia. In exchange, Russia would export more grain to China. Sounds like a good deal? Well, not really. What Putin wants is a win-win situation in which he wins twice. So transferring production capacity to Russia suggests that Putin is neither satisfied nor fully trusting Beijing's current level of support. So he's not very happy, or he isn't trusting Beijing. So he's worried that under US pressure, China may cut off military aid to Russia. If the factories are built on Russian soil, that would strip Xi Jinping of the ability to maintain a neutral international image. And even in an extreme situation, Putin could even seize Chinese factories, equipment, and other properties. So from an economic standpoint, the request isn't a friendly one. It will worsen China's current economic difficulties. Putin isn't looking for China's excess production capability, right, of things like solar panels or shoes or clothing or toys. He wants capacity related to drones, machinery, vehicles, and AI applications. But these are precisely the strategic sectors Beijing counts on to create jobs and generate tax revenue domestically. Now, Putin is asking China to shift them to Russia, which would siphon off employment and fiscal income from China. As a trade-off, Russia offers to export more grain to China. Basically, they offer to make up for the shortfall caused by reduced imports from the US. Now, China relies on the US for soybeans and corns, but Russia is a major wheat producer and doesn't produce enough soybeans and corns to replace the US. And also, American soybeans and corns are the best in the world in terms of quality, consistency, and price competitiveness. So for China, importing Russian soybeans and corns doesn't make sense at all. So you see, Putin's offer to Xi Jinping creates a win-win situation. And like I said, it's a situation in which Russia wins twice. So Putin's demand is clear. Move your factories to my territory, let your employment and revenue feed my economy, and in return, I'll sell you wheat. That's not a partnership. That's a leverage. So too bad that I don't have pictures to share with you. I don't know why the files just got stuck. All right, well, we'll just do it without the pictures, but I do have a video to show you. And it's the most important piece of visual today. So stay tuned, it's coming. On the afternoon of May 8th, Xi Jinping and Putin had tea together at the Kremlin. And Xinhua reported that they discussed Ukraine and exchanged views on a peace agreement. But here's the strange part. The Kremlin said nothing. There's no mentioning of Ukraine, no confirmation that the topic even came up. And the silence says a lot. Russia likely wants to keep China out of the Ukraine peace process and deal directly with the US and NATO. Even during formal talks earlier the day, they didn't mention the war. Neither side mentioned the war. And also, after the meeting, Xi Jinping and Putin did face the press. The Xinhua talked about the press, the joint press conference. They even shared photos. But again, the Kremlin downplayed it, saying that the two leaders simply made statements. And in Putin's statement, he stressed that the two countries, quote, pursue independent foreign policies. So in short, Russia wants benefits from both Washington and Beijing. The US can walk away, but China cannot. So Beijing is being played. And they also issued 3 joint statements. And in my opinion, they're all optics, no substance. They issued 2 short statements, or 2 short joint statements, and 1 long one. The long joint statement had a 73-character title. I had a picture for you, and it's just not here. And the English translation of that long Chinese title has 53 words. Let's just call it the rant statement. I think this statement is what the Chinese wanted, and the Russians just played along. It was full of chest thumping. So it says things like, we won World War II. You won, I won, we both won big. And it slams against Japan for distorting history. It made accusations toward Europe for denying the Soviet Union's image as liberators. And of course, complaints about US tariffs. But here's the ultimate irony. If Putin really wanted to honor World War II history, he should issue a joint statement with Taiwan and not Beijing, because it was the Republic of China, the ROC and not PRC, that was a World War II victor. And ROC was the country that signed the 1943 Cairo Declaration and also the 1945 Potsdam. Am I saying it right? Potsdam? Potsdam. Okay, let's just say it that way. Declaration. I know I will be getting quite a few emails from people helping me how to pronounce that word. So thank you in advance. So Russia signed those 2 important declarations that announced Japan's defeat, or demanded defeat from Japan. And also ROC was the country, or one of the countries, that helped found the United Nations and became a permanent member. The PRC didn't even exist yet. It was the ROC and the Nationalists Army that fought the Japanese, while the CCP army was in hiding. So for the CCP to claim the credit of World War II victory is a joke. But anyways, the 2 shorter statements were not signed by Xi Jinping or Putin. The representatives did. So what do we really get from this summit? Well, I think there's red carpet, a fancy parade, and a bunch of symbolic documents, just like Xi Jinping's visit to Vietnam recently. The host put on a good show, signs a stack of papers, and let the world believe that the visit was a diplomatic triumph. But beneath all the pageantry, the truth is, I'm afraid, this. Putin wants Chinese factories and money, but not Chinese fights. He gave Xi Jinping nothing on the US, nothing on Ukraine, and nothing of real strategic value. And the most awkward truth of all is that Russian cameras may have captured signs of a health issue Xi Jinping has carefully hidden from the Chinese public. So now let's talk about something that's always being guarded as top secret in China, Xi Jinping's health. I wish I have the pictures. Oh, they're still uploading. It's sad. Let me try. Maybe let me try. Let me try. I just don't believe that this. It's only like 5 pictures, and it's taking forever. Sorry. Slides. Stuff on my computer. Here we go. Let me try it one more time. Trying to upload it. It should take that. It's only 5 pictures, but the visuals. I think I may have a better chance of uploading it this time. I still haven't figured out the mystery about my internet speed. I pay so much money for internet, and I'm getting terrible speed. Anyways, okay, now let's talk about Xi Jinping's health. In the CCP system, the health of top leaders is treated as a state secret, and that includes Xi Jinping. And since last summer, rumors have circulated on Chinese social media that Xi suffered a stroke in the summer of 2024. But China's state media is ruthless about image control. Every appearance is carefully edited. Any footage that might reveal weakness, deleted or cropped. So where do we get glimpses of the truth? Ironically, from foreign press. So let's rewind a little bit. Back in 2019, during the CCP's annual 2 sessions, Xi Jinping had just 1 cup in front of him, like everyone else. But starting in 2020, people noticed something odd. At major party events, Xi Jinping now had 2 cups in front of him. And what's in the second cup? Some people thought it was medication. Oh, I got the slides. Here we go. Are you able to see? There we go. Here we go. Oh, here's the long title. Here's the crazy 73-word long title. Unbelievable. Yeah, just see how long that title is. This is the joint statement Xi Jinping and Putin signed. And I gave you the 53-word translated English title. And there's their joint press conference. I want to talk about this. His 2 cups, his famous 2 cups. So this was 2024, at the annual 2 sessions. Foreign press caught a close-up of Xi Jinping wincing after taking a sip from one of the 2 cups during the closing session of the National People's Congress. It wasn't just a facial tic. It looked like he was reacting to something bitter or unpleasant. Possibly Chinese herbal medicine, known for its muddy texture and strong bitter taste. This only fueled speculation that one of those 2 cups contains his medicine. Now let's fast forward to May 2024, when Xi Jinping visited France. At the welcoming ceremony hosted by French President Macron, Xi Jinping appeared to be walking unsteadily. And later, during a 3-way meeting with Macron and EU Commission President von der Leyen, something else was off. On the table in front of Xi Jinping, here we go, I have a picture. There was a black cup in front of Xi Jinping. And in front of the 2 European leaders, clear glass water cups. The clear glasses. So take a look at this picture. Xi Jinping's black cup is circled in red, and the European leaders' glasses are marked with green arrows. And that's not all. Behind Xi Jinping, near his entourage, where Wang Yi and Hua Chunying sat, there was a folded wheelchair. Now ask for yourself, was this wheelchair for Macron? For von der Leyen? I don't think so. Was it for Wang Yi or Hua Chunying? Not likely. So it immediately reminded China observers of Xi Jinping's earlier unsteady gait. These weren't Chinese media images. They were taken by the French press. And they gave us rare, unfiltered insights. Also, though I'll talk about that later. So now let's fast forward to this month, May 2025, in Russia. During the China-Russia summit, Russian state media gave Xi Jinping a full 8 to 9 second solo close-up. It's not a quick flash, it's a long, steady shot, and it revealed something unusual. Let me play the video. Hold on. Oh, let me start from the very beginning.
Важным фактором поддержания продовольственной безопасности обеих стран стали значительные взаимные поставки сельхозтоваров в страну.
Again,
Важным фактором поддержания продовольственной безопасности обеих стран стали значительные взаимные поставки сельхозтоваров в страну.
okay. All right. Did you notice something? Well, Xi Jinping he was wearing an earpiece, listening to Putin speak. Then suddenly his neck tilted sharply to the left and he blinked rapidly. And then he tried to force his neck upright again. And this happened 3 times in under 9 seconds. Now, some people wondered, was he dozing off because he may be, he might had a jet lag. But if he were falling asleep, his head would have drooped forward, right? Not tilted sideways like that. This wasn't the first time we saw this kind of odd head movement. About 10 days earlier, during Xi Jinping's visit to Shanghai, CCTV aired a 2 to 3 second clip of Xi Jinping shaking his head abnormally. And again, he showed involuntary head tilt, twitching, and rapid blinking. At the time, some China watchers suspected a neurological issue, but the clip was too short to be conclusive. This time, the footage from Moscow is much longer and more revealing, so it supported people's suspicion from 10 days ago. So what are we seeing here? Well, one political commentator, a Chinese one, ran the Russian footage through AI-based medical tools. And the analysis suggested that Xi Jinping might be experiencing something called resting tremor, a classic sign of Parkinson's disease or post-stroke damage. And another commentator consulted a medical expert, and the doctor pointed out that frequent blinking or involuntary head tilt and self-correction attempts. Because in the video you just saw, Xi Jinping was trying to, correct his neck, and he was involuntarily, his head was involuntarily tilting to the left, and he tried to pull himself back. So the self-correction attempts are commonly seen in early stage neurological conditions like Parkinson's and stroke aftermath or mini strokes. And so the medical explanation is this: if a stroke affected the motor cortex of the brain or structures like or certain structure of the brain, it can cause increased tension in neck muscles. And when those muscles tighten uncontrollably, the head can be pulled involuntarily to one side. So that could explain Xi Jinping's involuntary tilted head. Now, let's go back to July 2024 during the CCP's third plenum. It was held from July 15th to the 18th. Rumors were going wild all over Chinese social media about Xi Jinping having suffered a stroke during the meeting. And then 1 month later, he met with the visiting Vietnamese leader. I think that meeting was on August the 19th. So it was exactly, let me remove this. It was exactly, is this showing? Why is this not showing? Here we go. Okay. It was exactly 1 month after the third plenum. So here are the pictures. The CCTV, China's state broadcaster, covered the event using mostly wide-angle shots. And when they had to show Xi Jinping close up, it was a frontal shot only. But in Vietnamese state media coverage, they showed a side-angle picture, and that's the one I'm showing on the screen. And the close-up, we blow up the close-up. And in the side shot, viewers noticed something alarming. a visible bald patch on the lower right side of Xi Jinping's head. And medical professionals suggested that it could be the result of pre-surgical shaving. Um, and the location of the missing hair raised strong suspicions that Xi Jinping had recently undergone a brain procedure. So what do we make all of this? So in a year, right? From Beijing, France, then to Shanghai, and then out to Moscow, the pattern is becoming harder to ignore. Wincing after sipping from a mystery cup, a folded wheelchair in the background, involuntary head movement and blinking, and visible surgical prep on the scalp. So the signs are subtle, but they are accumulating thanks to foreign press, and they all point to the same conclusion that Xi Jinping may be showing early or mild symptoms of a neurological condition, possibly the aftermath of a stroke. And while the CCP will never confirm it, those long-running rumors about Xi Jinping's health are no longer just speculation, and they are starting to look very real. So that's it for today. If you found this information helpful, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And let me know in the comments, what do you think? Do you think Xi Jinping's health is now a political liability for Beijing? Type 1 if you think it's yes, 2 if it's no, and 3 if you're not sure. We don't have to do a survey because I didn't tell Chris ahead of time. So just type 1, 2, or 3 in the comment, and we'll see what people's answers are. All right, that's all I have. Sorry for the late start due to technical challenges. I'm glad that the slides eventually uploaded. All right, let's see. 1, 2, 3. Wow, we have 1, 2, 3. All right, well, they're evenly distributed. We have a lot of 1s, 2s. Someone else asked me, what's wrong with his ears? Well, I don't know. There's nothing wrong with his ears. I don't know if there's something wrong with his ears, but the shaved hairline looked very strange. And according to medical professionals, that's usually his hair was shaved for a brain procedure. Something operated on his head. Okay, well, 3, a lot of 1s, a lot of 2s, and 1, 2, 3, they're all possible. Oh, Robert Wingsman says 1. Okay, while you vote, let me first of all thank the people who gave me super stickers. All right, I want to thank them quickly. All right, I'm trying to scroll down as fast as I can. Am I missing some, or do I see I saw super stickers flying by. Manny Kyla, is CCP angry because of USA-Ukraine mineral deals? Well, there are a lot of things that that's happening that's making CCP angry. CCP is not in a happy place right now. The ceasefire between Pakistan and India is certainly not making them happy. The mineral deal is not making them happy. I even think the way the trade negotiation that's happening in Switzerland, didn't we hear rumor that it was abruptly ended after like 15 minutes or shortly after the meeting started, and then the Chinese delegates walked out and then they walked back in. I'm still trying to find out if that claim was true or not, but the negotiation ended after 10 hours, and they're going to resume again on Sunday. So it will be interesting to see I do not believe that there will be anything concrete reached. I do not believe so. So we'll see. Okay. All right. All right. So all the votes are in. Joe Mai. Well, thank you, Joe May, for the super stickers. All right. Oh, wow, there are even fours. 1, 2, 3, and fours. Lei is a 10. So what does four stand for? Can someone tell me? One, lots of ones. Yeah, lots of ones. Some threes, some twos. Well, lots of threes. Okay. All right. No donation buttons? What happened to the donation buttons today? I don't know. I don't control the donation buttons. I have no idea when they appear or not appear. I hope they're there. 4 is troll. Oh, I see. 4 must be 3 plus 1. Okay. Okay, here's a comment from Eric Rowan. Chinese walked out when I was a little kid on Nixon. I remember the news, people were mystified by it. I've always thought it was juvenile behavior. I have to tell you a joke when Nixon visited China. I mean, I don't know if it's true or not, but when they translated the press release, when you say President Nixon and First Lady, um, when you translate that into Chinese, you have, President Nixon and the First Lady, but the First Lady is translated as first wife, right? 第一夫人. You can't translate lady, you just say the first wife. So all the Chinese were thinking, what? The American president has more than one wife and he came with his first wife? I think that's a perfect example of lost of the case stories, lost in translation. Yeah, there are certain words you cannot translate, like first lady. The meaning is completely different once you try to translate that. Okay, you did fine pronouncing Potsdam. Okay, I'm glad. Well, thank you. That means I'm not getting a lot of emails trying to help me with pronunciation. That's good. All right. Okay. That seems to. Oh, here's a question forwarded by Chris from King James. Wow. Do you think China will be able to recover from, where did it go? Will be recover from the impact of the tariffs? No, I do not believe so. Regardless of what comes out of the tariff negotiation, China, there's no way China will recover from this. Because I do not believe that they're able to reach any consensus. Because the number one issue in the trade negotiation is fentanyl, right? That's high on Trump's agenda or priority list. But this is the very strategy that Xi Jinping has implemented to compete with the US. That's his very strategy. And I heard today from someone said that the CCP named that project, the project to use fentanyl to destruct the United States from within, is given a code name called Project Zero. It's called Project Zero. So it is a strategic move to use fentanyl to destroy the US from within. So there's no way the two sides would reach a consensus. Anything the CCP says or will say is not to be believed. So how are they going to reach any consensus on tariffs? And we know how strong Trump feels about fentanyl. So I do not believe. So I think Chinese economy is only going to go downhill from here, for sure. Okay. All right, let's see. From Sigma, why would China want Pakistan-Indian war to continue? Well, it's another regional conflict that would distract the United States. The more, take the Russia-Ukraine war, the conflict in the Middle East, the conflict in South China Sea, and now Pakistan and India. I mean, that's CCP strategy. It has one of its think tanks came up with the conclusion that if there are four world conflicts, regional conflicts, then the United States is forever tied up. Its hands will be tied. It will have no resources or bandwidth left to deal with Taiwan Strait, anything that happens in the Taiwan Strait. So this is CCP's calculation. Um, do we have four regional conflicts? We have at least three, right? We have at least three. And maybe Taiwan will be the fourth one. All right. Someone says, thank you for bringing common sense to the world via your channel. You rock. All right. Well, thank you, T. Here's a question from Shimon Israel. Your amazing love, the analysis do much, wishing you well and hope you continue. We'll watch every video. Well, thank you. Thank you for the well wish. Steve Solis Lay, are the reporters showing China's economy suffering so bad are credible? Is it Western propaganda? I have not covered that because I know there are many other channels that are covering such topics, like China Observer has done a lot of videos on that topic. So I have kind of stayed away from that. Unless there are in-depth analysis that I can offer, then I would do it. I was almost tempted to do that tonight, but I think this China-Russia talk is more interesting, as more timely, because not a lot of people have covered it. But your question, is it Western propaganda? I do not think so. It is real. It's not Western propaganda. D. Glass. No one believes me that the CCP does not have 1.4 billion people and that the number is less than 400 million. I know other people have the numbers, but how do we come to this conclusion? Well, I'll have to do 2 more live streams to answer that. Well, watch my previous programs on that. To answer how many people China has at this point, there are 2 questions that need to be answered. One is, how many people did China have before the pandemic? Was it 1.4 billion? I do not think so. It's significantly less. And then the second question is, how many people actually died during the pandemic? And I think all signs point to in the range of hundreds of millions. So those are the 2 questions we need to answer before we could come close to a number for the current population. You can watch my previous programs on that. Okay, China Uncensored, yeah, is also another good source. Bella G. Well, thank you, Bella. That's all. Happy Mother's Day. Oh, yes, happy Mother's Day. That's right. Tomorrow, isn't it? Yes. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers. Jomari, hi Lei, I'm a big fan of yours, but I fully support China-Taiwan unification under one condition. The unified country will be called Taiwan. I hope I put a smile on your face and made your day. Yes, you put a smile on my face. But one unified country, I think it can be called anything as long as it's without the CCP. It can be called Republic of China. What's wrong with that? I don't mind, right? I mean, the Republic of China has existed for over 100 years. So, and it should continue. All right. Happy Mother's Day. All right, that seems to be all. Happy birthday to all mothers out there. Is that a birthday for all mothers? Okay, that's all for tonight. I thank you for joining and enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I'll see you next week. Thank you. Bye-bye.